I can't remember what I was gonna say. So first of all, I just really wanted to say thank you so much to every single person who has taken the time out of their day to try and give me advice on how to cope in Finland. Whether you left a one-liner comment on my video with advice, or whether you sent me a personal message, or whether you took the time to write me like a 5-page email. I really appreciate it, and it's really been helpful. I come from the opposite end of the globe, and so it has been an enormous culture shock. And really, I think when two groups of people that are so different from one another come together, it is really easy to offend each other if you don't understand each other. So I really appreciate anyone that has taken the time to try and help me understand why I'm experiencing the things I'm experiencing and how I can make it better for myself. I have a list of about 1 million things that I've learned about Finland, either through my own experiences or from what everybody has been explaining to me. And I really want to keep the videos a decent length though, so I think I'm only going to talk about 5, but just ask because I am now a Finland pro and I can tell you anything you need to know. The first thing, and you'll know this if you've seen any of my other videos, because I've complained about it a lot, and that is that Finnish people tend to be quite reserved at first. And I mean this in 2 ways. Obviously, first way is with people that they don't know. The worst thing that you can do to a random Finnish person on the street is, first of all, look them in the eye and then smile. Don't do that. They don't like it. And I have to say I kind of still do that sometimes by accident, just because it's been 23 years of me behaving one way, and then you come to a new country where they don't behave like that. So I'm trying to learn off the habit, but I'm really sorry if there's still a few times where I freak people out by smiling at them. I'm working on it, I'll fix it, don't worry. And the second way I mean it is that you can spend quite a large amount of time with a Finnish person before they actually warm up to you to the level where they would consider you a friend. And now that I have made a few Finnish friends, I can kind of understand it, just because I don't know if it's just the Finnish people I know, but I feel like this is the case with a lot of people, that they tend to be the best friends you could hope for, so helpful, so concerned for you, that it is just way too much trouble to be this good friends with everybody. So we don't bother. So yeah, first tip is that Finnish people might come across cold at first, but yes, like many people told me, just hold on, it gets better, and it gets much better, it does. And one thing that I've heard though is that Finnish men can be quite cold romantically. Is that true? In sort of the sense that they don't tell you they love you very often. It's sort of like, listen woman, I told you when I married you that I loved you. I will let you know if anything changes. And I don't like that, but I mean, you kind of still have to admire how economical they can be with the words. The second thing is something that is probably really obvious to a lot of people, but it wasn't obvious to me. And that is that if you go into a Finnish person's home, you must take off your shoes. It gets really muddy outside or whatever, and those shoes come off. There's like an entrance hole where the coat comes off and the shoes come off, and you run around in your socks. Now, there is a reason that isn't obvious to me, so don't think I'm an animal for keeping my shoes on, but in South Africa, I don't know, maybe it's because it gets really hot, but we don't take off our shoes when we go to people's houses. If you were to visit me at my house and you took off your shoes, I would be like, dude, what are you doing with your feet? Put those away. Like, by all means, wipe your feet on the welcome mat I have provided, but I don't want to see your feet. Like, obviously, like some people you know really well and you can do whatever you like at their house. But if you don't know the person well, and say for some reason you really have to take off your shoes, it's not uncommon for you to apologize for exposing your feet. It's just not. We don't do that. Third thing is the language. It might be years before it is necessary for you to learn Finnish, just because every single person here can speak English. Some of the older people cannot, but I mean, at least now, everybody learns English at school, and I would say it's pretty close to being an official language just because of the number of people that can speak it and how well they speak it. It's not necessary. It does make it quite difficult when you go shopping for food though. I am never 100% sure what I'm eating, but I have learned that kana is chicken, so when in doubt, we go for the kana. The fourth thing is a topic I know nothing about, however I have heard millions upon millions of Finnish people complain about this, and that is the tax. Apparently, the tax is really high, but you have to decide if it's something that's worth it for you. Do you want to live in a country where the streets are permanently clean? There are no homeless people that didn't put themselves there from drinking their money. Do you want to live in a country where if you phone the police, they come the same day? Like honestly, it's a first world like I've never experienced it. The healthcare is so cheap, and education. Not only is it free education, but you get paid to study. They give you actual real euros every month to study. Being here has been such a contrast just because I'm used to a country where you can work full-time and still not make enough money to survive. So I think the tax is worth it. And the last thing that I'm going to talk about is the fact that something you might consider bad manners might not necessarily be bad manners here. For example, I am like 90% sure there isn't a word for please. There are conflicting sources on this, but if there is a word for please, it's not used all that often. Like in English, it's often the case where you can be talking to someone for like 2 minutes and you still don't know what they want. They'll be like, "Excuse me, I'm very sorry to bother you on this lovely afternoon, but I hope you and your family and your dog are well. And I kind of really was just wondering, if it weren't too much trouble, do you think it would be possible, could I possibly maybe, please, would you please lend me a pen, please, maybe?" Finish. Give me a pen. I like that. That's straight to the point. Like, it's so unnecessary. All this extra fluff in the conversation. Those might seem like small tips, but if I had known that before I came here, there would have been much less unpleasantness where either I was offending someone or someone was offending me. So I think it's helpful to know this. But anyway, I will see you next week. Bye!